So I decided I'm going to do this video a little bit different because I have my own story to tell, and how I almost lost it all because of my bank account getting hacked, or at least lost everything in my bank account. So basically, I'm just going to tell my story, tell how the brokers are used by the hackers, data brokers, explain along the way what data brokers are, how hackers use the information, and how to protect yourself, more or less, so it doesn't happen to you. And I had to figure this out because I certainly didn't expect it. So here's my story. So what happened was I went to log on to my bank account online, and it wouldn't let me log in. I wondered what was this? What's going on? I said it was locked. My bank account was locked. Well, I called my bank, and they said, "Oh, well, someone tried to hack it, and some stuff was going on." And I ended up calling them, asking, when I was calling them, asking, "Well, how do I get this taken care of? What do I need to do? How do I get my bank account back?" Well, basically, I had to drive to the head bank, show up there with a couple different forms of identification, prove that I was me, and yeah, they had to end up opening up a whole new bank account. But I ended up driving across several states to get there, and I was kind of like, I was kind of shocked by it. My card still worked, couldn't draw out any money, so I managed to make the drive all the way across a couple different states to get to the main head bank of that banking chain. And when I was there, I asked them, "Well, did you guys get hacked?" Because I know that I do a good job with my security and everything that was going, and because I use my password protection, my VPN, and my antivirus and stuff like that. And so it's just like, I don't know how I didn't think it was me. Oh, and I talked to the teller, and teller's like, "Oh, well, they wanted to talk about, how it was my email. And after I got everything all straightened out and back home, I was like, this doesn't seem right. So I started doing my research. Found out that my bank, or that branch, not the whole branch, but the whole banking chain, apparently had been hacked. They had been hacked 3 months ago, and they stole all of their customers' information, your social security numbers, your address, your phone number, everything. That meant all of that was on the dark web. So they weren't necessarily targeting me specifically. They were targeting every single one of the banking systems, the bank's customers. And I was surprised that when I asked them if they had been hacked, "Oh, no, we haven't been hacked," or at least the teller didn't know. And I was shocked to find out that they didn't tell me. And these banks, they have no obligation to tell you when they've been hacked, so that you can know about this and to protect yourself. Um, they never did admit. They never did say anything or tell their customers about it. And so it tells me exactly how vulnerable these banks are. So I didn't know how this happened and why, and so I had to figure out what was my weakness. Why was why were they able to how I could protect myself? Well, luckily, I think what protected me was the fact I did use a VPN and stuff, but it's just like, I wondered why they stole everyone's information. I just wondered what in the world they were going to do with it, and because obviously it was a plan, they turned around and used it they used it to turn around and then try to hack all the customers' bank's account. Well, how did they do that? So I had to do research and try to reverse engineer, more or less, what they were doing. So I made sure that my password was up to date, and I had changed my password and on my email, and that's when I learned about data brokers. So what are data brokers? Data brokers, in the legal sense, when things are done so-called legally, what they do is they collect your information, and some of these businesses, what they'll do is they'll sell your information to these advertising companies. YouTube does it. Social media kind of does it. Microsoft even does it. They collect information about people, and they have a degree of where they resell it, and they sell it to these data brokers. And then what these data brokers do is they then turn around and they sell this information out to advertisers. Is how the so-called the legal way for them to make money. Now there's also the illegal way. Some of them function more on the dark web. They will sell more personal information about you, information they've gathered, like partial passwords, and so they can create a, how can you possibly hack this person to see if you've reused a lot of passwords and things like that. The other thing is, your email, your information, your age, your demographics, and maybe even people that are associated with you. What is your job? What have you done? Where were you born? So that they can know information about you. And they use all of this as a way to try to hack whatever company, so they can give out information they've learned. Who's your mom? Who's your dad? When were they born? All this kind of stuff. Especially if it's all online and they don't have to necessarily do every single person individually. They just need to talk to these data brokers on the dark web. And then what they do is they turn around, they use that information to try to hack into your email or your bank account. So they couldn't get into my email. That obviously that didn't happen. They must have got in some other way or tried to. Maybe they thought they could get into my email and use my email or something. But whatever it was, it triggered with the bank because it didn't work. But the fact that they got that close, that they really questioned who I was. I had to prove my identity, was scary. So how do you protect yourself against these data brokers? Well, it goes back to privacy, and you have to. There's a company called Incognito, and I'll leave a link to it below. But what Incognito is it goes and Incognito goes and they get a hold of all these data brokers, and they constantly tell them, get rid of this person's information. You don't have the right permissions. And they constantly harass these data brokers to drop your information, to get rid of your information on several different levels. And it tracks whether they're compliant or not. And you have to keep on harassing them and asking them, like every month, asking them to not use your information. And is to keep your personal information off of their data, off of their databases. And it's pretty. I mean, it's worked a lot for me. I didn't realize just exactly how much my information and all of my stuff about my email and emails were out there. And that's the first one of the main step to protecting yourself is privacy. That's why after this I went back and I got NordPass, because I didn't understand how important privacy was. We all think that these hackers, we all think hackers are sitting there and they're crunching code and they're typing in all of trying to break programs and stuff like that. And that's not really true. Those hackers work for other people who hire up. It takes a team now, but more or less the guys that are, I want to say good, but they are they do a good job at hacking or a really bad job at hacking. They do bad things through hacking. They aren't just crunching code. They are basically what we used to call con men. They take this information, they call people, talk to people, they try to convince other people that they are someone else or that they're you, and that is how they get in. They break social norms. In our society, especially in the United States, we have social norms. This is how things are done. This is how things normally go. It's called social hacking. This is how things operate. This is just what people do. And this is how people operate. And this is what's normal in our society. Well, they use that to their advantage and they break that social code and they use that as a way to deceive people, to give false information, to falsely represent themselves as being you or someone else. Or even online, there's programs that programs falsely represent themselves as you. So that's how you really need to protect yourself. So another thing that comes up is, oh, well, you use incognito. Why don't you use one of these things like LifeLock and things like that? Here's why. In the United States, Cognito is not an American company. Privacy in the United States is not important. They don't like the idea of privacy. Privacy is apparently, according to the government, is a negative, evil thing. But privacy is really the key to keeping yourself secure. That's why there has been so much hacking to the level of the Department of Homeland Security, all of the branches of the military and the governments and everything has been, in the United States, have been hacked at every level. That's why we have such a problem, is because the key is privacy. But they want you to use LifeLock or something like that so that you trust Big Brother. You trust these other people who can't even protect themselves. The DOD, Department of Defense, Homeland Security, the Air Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, they've all been hacked all the way through and through. Everyone's information. Any government entity or business that is set up to work for government has been hacked, and they don't work very well. Because they don't ignore the importance of privacy. NordPass focuses on privacy. You're allowed to use made up emails. You don't have to protect your email, which is used as your identity. It helps you generate good passwords, and yes, then you can print off your passwords if you need to, so that you can keep them in a secure place. And then the VPN also helps you with privacy. And it's not just a VPN that comes with what comes with your antivirus software. They don't focus on VPNs. They don't focus on your privacy. They just have a VPN, more or less, that they can throw out there and say they have one. They don't say anything about how good it is. So yes, that's my story, and my next story is going to be about, again, protecting yourself on a different level, and it has to do a lot with privacy. So go out there, protect yourself, get incognito. I don't have any specialty link where you can try it for free or anything like that, or get a discount. But I'm interested in you taking care of yourself and not getting ripped off. All right, signing out. Bye-bye.